the Song of Songs, Divine Romance, and Sacred Desire. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Share where you're listening from and what brought you to reflect on this divine romance today. There is a book in Scripture so rich with intimacy, so fragrant with desire, and so ablaze with holy passion. Even the ancient rabbis declared it the Holy of Holies of the entire Bible. The Song of Songs, also called the Song of Solomon, is not merely a poetic dialogue between two lovers. It is an unveiled mystery, a sacred hymn echoing the deepest longing of the human soul and the fervent pursuit of God for his people. Unlike any other biblical text, the Song of Songs elevates romantic love into divine territory, where the language of longing becomes the language of worship. It is a garden of mystery, lush with allegory, layered with meaning, and scandalously sensual in its sanctity. It doesn't shrink back from desire, it sanctifies it. It doesn't suppress human longing, it redirects it toward its highest fulfillment. Let's begin where the text begins, with the voice of a woman, bold and unashamed, crying out, "Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is more delightful than wine." Song of Songs 1-2. From the first verse, we are invited into something intimate yet elevated. The word used for love here is dod, a Hebrew word that implies physical affection. But the love described is not merely erotic, it is exalted. The ancient Jewish interpreters saw in this line the soul's longing for union with God. Christian mystics heard the voice of the church yearning for Christ, and yet it remains at its core a love song, a celebration of desire that is not debased, but consecrated. Sacred eros, when desire becomes holy. Many cultures divide love into carnal and sacred, but the Song of Songs refuses this dichotomy. It binds together eros, desire, and agape, self-gift, in a poetic embrace that challenges both prudery and promiscuity. It declares that longing, rightly ordered, is not sinful, but sanctifying. The lovers in this book are not ashamed of their desire. They are unashamed and unveiled. "I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine," the woman proclaims, 6:3, a declaration of mutual belonging that echoes the covenantal refrain of God to Israel. In the Garden of Eden, Adam looked upon Eve and said, "This at last is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh." In the Song of Songs, that initial wonder is not lost, it is amplified. Here, the lovers find each other again, not in a moment of creation, but in a sustained liturgy of pursuit, embrace, and delight. And yet, there is no explicit mention of marriage in the Song of Songs. Why? Because the entire book is about the mystery that precedes and undergirds the sacrament. The desire that leads to union, the trust that leads to covenant, the delight that leads to fidelity. A garden reclaimed, from Eden to the bridegroom's vineyard. The setting of the Song of Songs is not coincidental. It is Edenic. Again and again we hear the language of a garden, spices, fruits, fountains, vineyards. The beloved is called a garden locked, a fountain sealed, 4:12, evoking not only purity but sacred mystery. This is not a wilderness of lust, it is a cultivated place, enclosed and intentional. The love described here grows not in chaos but in order, not in conquest but in consent. The echoes of Eden are unmistakable. Just as the first man and woman were naked and unashamed, the lovers in this poem are utterly exposed, body, soul, voice, and vulnerability. But while Eden ended in exile, this garden becomes the place of return. It is where the curse is undone, not by denial of desire, but by its purification. The Song of Songs shows us what it looks like when love is no longer fractured by shame. It is the anti-Edenic fall, a poetic reversal of the estrangement between man and woman. Here, the woman is not silent. She speaks, she searches, she initiates, and she is not punished for it. She is adored. "You have captivated my heart, my sister, my bride. You have captivated my heart with one glance of your eyes." This holy captivation is not domination. It is reverence. It shows us that in the biblical vision of marriage, true desire is not possession, it is communion. And communion can only come from mutual recognition and self-gift. The voice of the bride, a theology of feminine desire. It is profoundly significant that much of the Song of Songs is voiced by the woman. In a culture where many ancient texts silence or marginalize the female perspective, here it is central. She is the seeker, the speaker, the dreamer. She does not wait in passivity. She longs, she speaks her longing, she acts on it. "I sought him whom my soul loves. I sought him, but found him not. I called him, but he gave no answer." 3:1. Love is fire, holy desire that consumes without destroying. The Song of Songs likens love to fire, a fire that cannot be quenched by floods, a fire that burns with divine energy. Its flashes are flashes of fire, the very flame of the Lord. 8:6. In Hebrew, the phrase is Shalhevet Yah, the flame of Yahweh. This is the only place in all of Scripture where God's sacred name is joined directly with the image of human love. It is no small statement. The passion between the lovers is not only permitted by God, it is infused with his own flame. This changes everything. We often think of love as fragile, fleeting, or conditional. But the song tells us that love, true love, covenantal love, divine love, is elemental. It is not a spark to be toyed with. It is a force. And when it is rightly ordered, it does not consume and destroy like lust or rage. It refines and warms. It draws near without devouring. It is eros, transfigured by agape. No wonder the mystics were drawn to this book. For them, it was not about romance at all. It was about union with the divine. Mystical marriage, saints who lived the song. Throughout Christian history, many saints turned to the Song of Songs in their most intimate prayers. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux preached nearly 80 sermons on the book and never made it past chapter 2. His insight was clear. The bride in the song is the soul, and the bridegroom is Christ. Every yearning, every kiss, every embrace is spiritual, pointing to the soul's ultimate union with God. Saint Teresa of Avila, in her mystical experiences, described the soul as a bride swept into the embrace of the divine bridegroom. Her language often echoed the song's imagery: fountains, gardens, dark nights, and burning fire. So too did Saint John of the Cross, whose spiritual canticle was a poetic reimagining of this book. He writes, "Where have you hidden, beloved, and left me moaning? You fled like the stag after wounding me." This cry echoes the song's own. I sought him whom my soul loves. I sought him, but found him not. The longing of the lover is not unspiritual. It is the very engine of sanctity. The saints remind us that holy desire is not extinguished in union. It is elevated, glorified, made eternal. Biblical theology of marriage in light of the song. The Catholic vision of marriage is not based on contract or utility, but on covenant and communion. And nowhere is that more beautifully dramatized than in the Song of Songs. The Church teaches that marriage is a sacrament, a visible sign of invisible grace. But what does that look like in lived reality? The song offers us a poetic blueprint. First, it presents mutuality. The lovers speak and respond. Neither is silenced. There is initiative and reception on both sides. This reflects the Trinitarian image of love as mutual self-gift, not dominance, not absorption, but communion. Second, it exalts delight. The woman says, "He brought me to the banqueting house, and his banner over me was love." 2 or 4. The joy of union, the celebration of the other's presence, these are not trivial. They are sacramental. The wedding feast of the Lamb is foreshadowed here. Marital joy is not indulgent, it is holy. Third, it emphasizes faithfulness. The seal on the heart is a mark of permanence. Many waters cannot quench love. 8:7. This echoes the indissolubility of marriage as taught by the Church. True love does not end at inconvenience. It abides, it bears, it endures. And fourth, it affirms the integration of body and soul. The lovers praise each other's physical beauty, but never as objects. Instead, the body becomes a symbol of the soul's radiance. This is the antidote to a culture of objectification. In the song, the body is not idolized, but neither is it ignored. It is honored. This vision is the opposite of both repression and lust. It is chastity in the fullest sense, the wholeness of love, expressed through gift, reverence, and total self-donation. The song in the liturgy and Catholic tradition. It is not accidental that the Song of Songs is read in the liturgy during Eastertide and Marian feasts. The Church recognizes in this poetry the echo of resurrection joy and the radiance of the Immaculate Bride. Mary herself is often seen as the perfect bride, the woman clothed with the sun, the garden enclosed, the virgin full of desire for the will of God. Some of the Church's most sacred feasts, including the Annunciation and the Assumption, are understood through the lens of spousal theology. Mary's fiat, "Let it be to me according to your word," is the response of the bride to the divine lover. Her whole being becomes the dwelling place of God, and so does the Church. We are the bride, we are the beloved. This spousal mystery is not reserved for mystics or married couples. It is at the heart of every vocation. Whether celibate, married, single, or consecrated, each of us is called to become the bride, to receive, respond, and be ravished by the love of God. Sacred desire and the redemption of romance. In a world that distorts desire or dismisses it, the Song of Songs redeems it. It tells us that sacred longing is not a weakness, it is a signpost. It points beyond itself. When we yearn for communion, we are tasting eternity. When we ache for intimacy, we are echoing the ache of God for us. This desire must not be numbed or manipulated. It must be educated, formed by truth, purified by grace, and lit by the flame of the Lord. The song does not end with consummation. It ends with pursuit. The final verse, "Make haste, my beloved, and be like a gazelle or a young stag on the mountains of spices." Even after love is declared, even after union is glimpsed, the pursuit continues. Why? Because divine love is inexhaustible. There is always more to discover, more to become, more to receive. This is the eternal dynamic of love that the song celebrates, a love ever ancient, ever new. This moment of searching speaks to every soul that has longed for love and not yet found it. It is both human and divine. The saints have echoed this cry in the darkness of prayer. Lovers have wept this cry in the silence of distance. The Church has sung it in Advent and Lent. The bride's longing becomes the echo of all longing, and her hope becomes the seed of all hope. Her desire is not shameful, it is sacred. In her voice, we find a theology of feminine desire that does not apologize, diminish, or retreat. Instead, it leads the way. Marriage as covenant, not contract. The Song of Songs does not describe a wedding ceremony, but what it proclaims is nothing short of covenant. The recurring refrain, "I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine," is not a contractual exchange. It is a mutual vow of belonging. This is covenant language, identity wrapped in love, permanence wrapped in intimacy. In biblical tradition, covenant is the deepest bond two persons can enter. It is not based on feelings, fluctuations, or performance. It is a total giving of self. The song gives us a vision of love that sustains covenant because it celebrates not duty alone, but delight. The joy, the playfulness, the sensuality, it is all part of the marital mystery. To exclude it from Christian thought is to deny the fullness of how God made us. The lovers do not just serve each other, they delight in each other. And this delight becomes the soil where fidelity takes root. Christ the bridegroom, the ultimate fulfillment. Early Christian theologians read the Song of Songs allegorically, seeing in it the love between Christ and the Church. This was not a forced metaphor. It was a mystical reading, rooted in Paul's words, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the Church," Ephesians 5:25. If Christ is the bridegroom and the Church his bride, then this poem becomes more than romance. It becomes eschatology. It speaks of the final wedding feast, the union not only of two people, but of heaven and earth. It tells the story of God who pursues, who woos, who waits, who gives himself entirely for his beloved. In this light, every human marriage becomes a sign, a sacrament of the divine romance that enfolds all of history. Our love is not just for us, it is to reflect the divine. Set me as a seal upon your heart, as a seal upon your arm, for love is strong as death. 8:6. These are among the most powerful lines in all of Scripture. Love, strong as death, jealousy, fierce as the grave. This is no sentimental vision. It is passion that imitates Christ's sacrifice. The seal upon the heart speaks of permanence, covenant, and spiritual branding, just as baptism seals the soul. The lover is not merely expressing affection, she is demanding union that transcends mortality. The final echo, a love stronger than death. The Song of Songs closes not with closure but with yearning, an open door, a final beckoning. The last verse is not, "I have found you, but come to me." This is the mystery of divine love. It is never exhausted, never complete in this life, always pulling us forward into deeper union. Marriage, as the Catholic Church teaches, is not an end in itself, but a sign. It is a sacrament that points beyond itself to the heavenly marriage between Christ and the Church, between the soul and its Creator. And the Song of Songs is the sacred icon of this mystery. It shows us that romance, desire, union, and joy are not secular distractions from holiness. They are the very shadows and shapes by which heaven touches earth. The intimacy of this book is not base, it is exalted. The human body is not a problem to be solved, but a temple to be reverenced. The longing for the beloved is not weakness, it is worship. The sacredness of marriage is not in its legality, but in its living out of this mystery. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. In the end, the Song of Songs is not just about lovers. It is about love. A love that seeks us, sings to us, waits for us, and will not rest until we rest in it. A love that whispers in the voice of the beloved and thunders in the fire of Sinai. A love that anoints the head, delights in the soul, and never fails.